Your engine just hit 260 degrees on the highway. Steam is pouring out from under your hood like you're auditioning for a horror movie, and you're standing on the shoulder wondering if your car is about to become a very expensive lawn ornament. Here's the plot twist nobody tells you. 90% of the time, the internet blames the radiator, and 90% of the time, the internet is wrong. Today we're playing detective with your cooling system, and I promise you, the real culprit is probably hiding somewhere you've never even thought to look. Stick around because fact number 7 alone could save you a $400 tow bill. Let's pop the hood and get into it. Number 1, the radiator cap that's secretly sabotaging you. Everybody stares at the radiator like it's the villain, but the actual mastermind is usually this $2 piece of plastic and rubber sitting right on top of it. Your radiator cap isn't just a lid, it's a pressure valve, and your cooling system needs pressure to raise the boiling point of your coolant. Without it, water boils at 212 degrees. With a properly sealed cap holding 15 to 16 pounds per square inch, that same coolant can handle 250 degrees plus before it flash boils into steam. When that seal cracks or the spring weakens, your system loses pressure, your coolant boils early, and you get overheating even though your radiator itself is completely fine. Think of it like trying to keep a soda fizzy with the cap half off. It's not the bottle's fault, it's the seal. Check this before you spend $300 replacing a perfectly healthy radiator. But a bad cap losing pressure is one thing. What happens when coolant simply can't move at all? That brings us to the silent killer of engines everywhere. Number 2, the thermostat playing gatekeeper and failing at it. Your thermostat is basically a tiny bouncer deciding whether coolant gets into the radiator loop or not. When it's working right, it opens once your engine hits operating temperature and lets hot coolant flow through to cool down. When it fails stuck closed, coolant just sits there, marinating in your engine block, building heat with nowhere to go. It's the mechanical equivalent of locking yourself in a sauna and wondering why you're sweating. This thing costs less than a fast food combo meal to replace, yet it causes a shocking chunk of overheating complaints. The telltale sign? Your temperature gauge climbs fast and your upper radiator hose stays cold while the engine cooks. That temperature imbalance is your car practically screaming the diagnosis at you. Now, if the thermostat is open and coolant is flowing, you'd think you're in the clear. Not so fast because the fluid itself might be the problem. Number 3, old coolant that's forgotten how to do its job. Coolant isn't just colored water, it's a chemistry experiment that degrades over time. It contains additives that fight corrosion, prevent scaling, and maintain proper heat transfer. After 2 to 5 years, depending on the type, those additives break down, and your coolant essentially becomes glorified rust-flavored water. Degraded coolant loses its ability to transfer heat efficiently, and worse, it starts eating away at your water pump, radiator tubes, and engine block from the inside. This is the automotive equivalent of using expired sunscreen and being shocked when you get burned. Flushing your coolant on schedule is one of the cheapest insurance policies your engine will ever get, and most people skip it entirely until their dashboard lights up like a Christmas tree. Speaking of things people skip, let's talk about the fan that's supposed to be your engine's personal air conditioning system. Number 4, the cooling fan that clocked out early. At highway speed, airflow through your grill does a lot of the cooling work for free. But the second you're stuck in traffic or idling at a red light, your electric cooling fan becomes the entire cooling system's last line of defense. If that fan motor burns out, the relay fails, or the temperature sensor triggering it goes bad, your fan just doesn't turn on. You won't notice on the highway because moving air is masking the problem. You will notice the second you're sitting in gridlock and your temp gauge starts climbing like a rocket launch. This is exactly why so many people say, "My car only overheats in traffic." And that single sentence is basically a diagnostic report if you know how to read it. Pop the hood, turn on the AC while parked, and watch if that fan kicks on. If it's dead silent, you've found your answer. Your fan needs power and signals to work. But even a perfect fan can't fix a system that's leaking its lifeblood out onto your driveway. Number 5, the leak you can't even see. Here's an uncomfortable truth. Not every coolant leak leaves a puddle for you to find. Sometimes coolant is escaping internally, burning off inside the combustion chamber through a failing head gasket, or seeping into your oil, turning your dipstick into a milkshake-colored mess. External leaks are the easy win: a hose clamp, a cracked radiator seam, a corroded heater core line. But internal leaks are sneaky, silent, and dangerous, because you can top off coolant every week and still be losing the battle. If you're constantly adding coolant with zero visible puddles anywhere, that's not a system running efficiently. That's a system bleeding out where you can't watch. This is when a $15 pressure test at a parts store can save you from a $5,000 engine rebuild. Speaking of things clogging up your system quietly, let's talk about the buildup nobody thinks to check. Number 6, the radiator that's clogged like a clogged artery. Okay, now we get to actually blame the radiator, because sometimes it genuinely is the culprit. Over years of driving, mineral deposits, rust flakes, and old degraded coolant sludge build up inside your radiator's tiny internal channels. It's basically automotive cholesterol. Your radiator might look completely fine from the outside, shiny, no dents, no visible damage, while internally it's operating at half capacity because coolant physically cannot squeeze through the buildup fast enough. Externally, dirt, bugs, and road debris can also cake onto the radiator fins, blocking airflow from cooling the coolant as it passes through. A simple test? Feel the radiator surface after driving. If there are cold spots or uneven temperature zones across the radiator face, that's blocked flow telling you exactly where the clog lives. But even a perfectly clean radiator is useless if the thing pushing coolant through it has thrown in the towel. Number 7, the water pump that quietly quit its job. This is the one I promised you earlier, and it's a big one. Your water pump is the heart of your cooling system, literally pumping coolant through the entire circulatory loop of your engine. When the pump's impeller blades erode, corrode, or the bearing seizes up, coolant flow slows to a trickle, even though every other part looks totally fine. The sneaky part is that a failing water pump often shows warning signs way before total failure. A high-pitched whining noise from the front of the engine, a slight coolant leak from the weep hole underneath the pump, or a wobble you can feel if you grab the pulley with the engine off. Catching this early means a $200 repair. Ignoring it means a seized engine and a tow truck ride you did not budget for. If your car overheats consistently regardless of speed, traffic, or temperature outside, put the water pump at the top of your suspect list. Now let's zoom out from parts and talk about something way sneakier: the air trapped where it absolutely should not be. Number 8, air pockets turning your cooling system into Swiss cheese. After any coolant service, whether it's a flush, a hose replacement, or a water pump swap, air can get trapped inside the cooling system if it isn't properly bled out. These air pockets, sometimes called airlocks, block coolant from circulating through certain parts of the engine, creating hot spots even though your coolant level looks totally fine in the reservoir. It's like trying to water your garden with a hose that's got a giant air bubble stuck halfway through. The water just stops flowing past that point. This is shockingly common after DIY coolant changes, or even professional ones done in a rush. The fix involves running the engine with the cap off or using a bleeder valve, letting the system properly purge itself. If your car started overheating right after a coolant-related repair, this is suspect number 1, not a defective new part. Speaking of things that lie to you, let's talk about the gauge itself, because sometimes the real problem is that you can't even trust what you're looking at. Number 9, the temperature sensor, crying wolf. Sometimes your engine isn't overheating at all. Your sensor is just lying to you. A failing coolant temperature sensor can send incorrect signals to your dashboard, making the gauge spike into the red zone while your actual engine temperature is completely normal. This sounds like good news, but it's actually its own kind of dangerous, because a bad sensor also messes with your engine computer's fuel and timing calculations, and eventually you stop trusting your gauge altogether, which is exactly when a real overheating event might get ignored. A quick way to sanity check this is using an infrared thermometer on the engine block or upper radiator hose to compare actual temperature against what the dashboard claims. If there's a wild mismatch, you found a liar, and it's not your engine. And finally, let's talk about the mistake that turns every single problem on this list from an inconvenience into a catastrophe. Number 10, driving through it like a stubborn legend. This is the one that actually destroys engines, not the overheating itself, but continuing to drive once it starts. The second that temperature needle crosses into the red, you have a very short window before warped cylinder heads, blown gaskets, or a fully cracked engine block turn a $200 fix into a full engine replacement. Pulling over immediately, letting the engine cool for at least 20 to 30 minutes, and never opening a hot radiator cap isn't just advice. It's the difference between an annoying afternoon and buying a new car. Every mechanic has a story about someone who just wanted to make it home and turned a 15-minute roadside wait into a $5,000 mistake. Don't be that legend. So here's the real takeaway. Your radiator gets blamed for almost everything, but it's usually innocent, sitting there doing its job while the cap, the thermostat, the pump, the sensor, or your own decision to keep driving does the actual damage. The fix isn't guessing, it's working through this list systematically until you find the actual weak link. If this saved you from an unnecessary radiator swap, or better yet, saved your engine altogether, smash that like button so this reaches the next person standing on the highway shoulder, panicking right now. And if you want more no-nonsense car diagnostics that save you real money instead of real headaches, hit subscribe because your engine's next cry for help is coming, and I'll make sure you know exactly what it's actually trying to tell you. Catch you in the next one.